4 days ago, Mojang threatened to blacklist the oldest Minecraft server that's still up, MinecraftOnline, also known as MCO, if they didn't revoke their free speech policy. That's what the email said, or rather, what it was interpreted as. On the 29th of October 2025, at 24 minutes past 8 GMT, Slow Riot, the owner of MCO, posted in the announcements channel on their Discord for the first time ever. Riot, in response to Mojang's email, highlighted how current events in the world diminish one's ability to freely express themselves, notably referencing the UK and Germany. The email from Mojang does appear to be quite vague in their demands. Remove harmful comments, abusive or disruptive behavior, and most importantly, amend any language or policies that suggest tolerance for harmful speech, including references to free speech, MinecraftOnline. When reading this email, it appears that Mojang is forcing the server to revoke its players' right to freedom of speech under the guise of safety and respect, and if they do not comply, the server is dead. But what could have caused this mess to occur? If you didn't know, Minecraft Online, since its birth on the 4th of August 2010, has only had 3 rules. No griefing, no spamming in chat, and no cheating. If someone breaks any of these rules, they will be banned permanently. This means that the chat is entirely unmoderated, with the sole exception of spamming. This lack of moderation leads to exactly what one might expect. This is indeed by design. Slow Riot's philosophy states that with complete freedom to express all opinions, everyone is on even grounds to discuss anything. If somebody's point of view is deemed problematic, you can call them out and prove them wrong, without any consequences. If somebody is being an asshole, the society will punish them. This way, discussion can flow both ways without domination or control. He noted that if you don't let people discuss openly, they will still hold their beliefs, but in a way, discussed in secret, where reason can't stand against them. And by allowing free discussion, every now and then, they might say something that's right and makes you realize that you're wrong. And from this, everyone benefits. This is Riot's own words, by the way. So, after the announcement, everyone was enraged. It would be a shame to lose this beautiful piece of Minecraft history. 15 years of buildings, players, drama, even Minecraft itself would all be gone. Maybe Mojang made a mistake. They do mention partner servers, which MCO isn't one of. MCO also came before the EULA was created. It got its name before Minecraft was even trademarked. This and even more was emphasized by Slow Riot himself when he made an uncommon appearance in public. He answered some questions, notably that this is an entirely new discussion with the Mojang team. He stated, and many agreed, that Mojang's demands weren't clear, because despite them outlining the step to take, the strokes were too broad to act effectively. The MCO admin team reached back asking for clarifications, which they have received. This is the part of the conversation that many haven't included in their publicizations of the story, simply because it has come out later. From this response we can see that Mojang, thankfully, isn't intentionally targeting free speech, but rather the darker part of MCO's chat. Unmoderated hate speech and harassment, predatory behavior and grooming risks, explicit and violent content, and failure to act by admins are their main reasons of concern that require immediate action. Despite most of the community generally being nice goofballs, sometimes some questionable individuals appear. When a person of ill intent does make their way into the space, there is nothing to prevent that. People are told to /ignore and don't give attention, but even still there is clearly enough room for malice there. Some speculate, and some even have proof, that a specific man is the cause for Mojang's actions, and his words speak for themselves. I don't think I need to explain to you what is wrong here. People like him aren't necessarily the norm on MCO, but I wouldn't say that this is completely unheard of. He is banned now, however, not for the horrid things he said, but for fly hacking at spawn. Often staff has to find loopholes and workarounds to get rid of people like these when the community is clearly displeased. Some people have said that Minecraft Online has been getting increasingly toxic in the last couple of years. I myself cannot attest to that because I haven't caught too much toxicity in the chat with my own eyes, but I have heard a variety of stories secondhand. A couple times I even saw people log on, say a slur, log off just like that, with no reaction from the chat. From this perspective, Mojang's demands do not seem so astronomical. They have once again stated that they do value free expression, but it's these aspects, especially those involving minors and violent threats, that are the issue. Of course, some would say that even this sort of restriction completely destroys the entirety of free speech, but everyone should agree that there is a thin and somewhat blurry line between free expression of one's opinion and targeted harassment. Furthermore, eliminating the latter will not necessarily affect the former, because when one doesn't intend to bully someone, the vast majority of the time, they don't fall into that category anyways. The saddest part of this is the fact that most of MCO staff don't seem to take this too seriously. Some laugh at Mojang, some mock censorship, ignore certain players' death threats to Mojang employees, while Mojang are already and fairly clearly monitoring the situation. Some staff are clearly in agreement with Mojang, while others are opposing them. It seems like even if Riot reaches an agreement with Mojang, a huge portion of the staff will either have to be removed or will leave themselves, and if they don't and refuse to cooperate despite the rule change, this will inevitably lead to MinecraftOnline's demise. I personally don't think that Mojang should intrude an individual server's business, but they do own the authentication service for Minecraft that ensure legitimacy of the players. Mojang has control over players' accounts, and they don't want to violate player safety, or for the servers that they authorize to do that either. If MCO wanted to completely free themselves from Mojang, they would have to go cracked, which would only do more harm than good. Another similar incident in the past lasted a couple months with the individual who would openly make sexual comments towards someone who is underage, ending up banned for breaking a torch. This caused several staff to quit over inaction and a petition to be written that would add a rule against such behavior, but despite having a decent amount of signatures, it never went anywhere. In fact, there were people opposing the petition. The original petition building also happened to get wiped by an admin with a very inconveniently timed spawn cleanup, so some names may or may not have been lost. Very peculiar. Perhaps MCO will now have to add this to the rules in light of Mojang's demands. So, are Mojang trying to kill free speech on the oldest Minecraft server? Probably no. At least not directly. Mojang want MCO to moderate its chat to prevent harassment and abuse. MCO, on the other hand, isn't really conducive to change. The people don't seem too keen on the idea, so even if the rule is added, the question remains, will they follow it? Will they themselves enforce it? Will MinecraftOnline survive and remain the oldest still active Minecraft multiplayer server? Or will its legacy be lost in a pitiful, pathetic bitter end? That is certainly a good question. What do you think? In 3 days we'll see the answer anyways.